When I started to look into doing a podcast, I knew I had a lot to share and say, and I wanted to do it in an audio format. I was a little intimidated, not going to lie, about how I was going to go about recording and editing and distributing and all those things because technology is not my strong suit. Naturally, I can learn things. And so when I started to take webinars and ask questions on Facebook and other platforms, I decided that Anchor was the best way to go. It's been a bit of a one-stop shop for me. I can record all of my episodes, I can edit them. It's been really nice because it's free. And when I started to do a podcast, it was, okay, how am I going to rebuild my practice? I had to close my practice down because of COVID, federal mandate. So how was I going to rebuild things? How was I going to give myself something to do? Because this defines me. What I do, it defines me. So I really needed an outlet, and the budget was like nothing. So having this free option has been great. I am recording on my laptop, but I can also record on my phone if I decide that's a way to go, or maybe I don't have my laptop on me. And so that's pretty exciting to know I can do it from there too. They also take and distribute to various apps for people to listen on, which again, that is taking one stressor away from me so I can focus on my content. And if it's something you'd like to do, if you have something you'd like to say, I can't recommend it enough for somebody who's a newbie and starting out. And I feel like even if I wasn't, new at this, it's been something I've been doing for a while, I would still like this platform because of the ease of everything. So if it is something you'd like to look into, you can download the free Anchor app or go to anchor.fm. That's ANCHOR.fm to get started. I'm your host, Carrie Arata, Akashic Records reader, psychic sleuth, and spiritual guide. And this is The Infinite Dance, the Akashic podcast. Hello, and thank you for your patience. This is coming out a little late. I had some major technical difficulties this week, or last week, I should say. My laptop screen, the screen, I smashed it. It was a complete accident. I had put my hand on the laptop, it was closed, and I went to lower a stool that it was sitting on and just made that noise, and I was like, oh no. Anyways, the process of getting a new one and transferring all the information over took about 5 days. So I appreciate your patience with getting this episode out, episode 5 of season 2 already. How exciting. I hope life is going good for you. I know Mercury retrograde. I was very much affected by it. The laptop snafu is definitely a Mercury retrograde thing, and I think I just needed an update. All right, universe, here we go. I'm grateful I was in the position to get one. Not in the budget. Wasn't anywhere near something I planned on doing right now, but I'm happy to have a new device, and this is the first episode coming from this new device. And I'm really excited about this episode in particular. It is kicking off interviews and co-hosts, a new feature I have on this podcast. And I'm really excited to be speaking with more of my colleagues and people in the realm of checking out ghosts and telling ghost stories and really wanting to help out discarnate souls. So that's what we're going to be focusing on. The last two main episodes of this month will be stories about my guests' experiences with ghosts and haunted areas or houses. So I'm really excited to get into those and share those with you. But without further ado, I'd like to introduce you to my guest this week. She is a multi-international best-selling author, divine embodiment guide and mentor, a publishing house, a podcaster, and a multidimensional healer. Her name is Abigail Mensah Bonsu, and I just had the best time chatting with her, and it's an hour again. So I hope you enjoy this, guys. I'm sure you will. I just didn't want to stop speaking with her. I was really enjoying myself, and I think you will too. So enjoy this episode. I will come back at the end and let you know of all the ways to get a hold of Abigail for the future. All right. Okay, I think when I first started noticing your work or being introduced to you, and I forget how that happened. I know you're in Denver, yeah. So similar, maybe pool of folks. You were talking a lot about light codes in your posts, and I know I've done a lot of work with light codes myself. But I think sometimes it can be confusing to folks about what it actually is. So what is your interaction and experience with light codes?
So I actually did a whole summit on this. This was like earlier this year, actually. Yeah, it was earlier this year. And the information is still in my group. So if anyone wants to like dive in, feel free to come join the group and check it out. It's like I had so many presenters come in and talk about it and activate. That was like the main part, like activate the light codes in as many people as possible. So with the concept of light codes, because when you're talking about light codes, you're also, people are going to ask it, well, what about light language, light codes, light language? So this is the way I see light codes. Light codes is how our soul communicates with the divine and how the divine also communicates with us. So this might come in as symbols, depending on what gifts are activated for you. You might actually see the symbols, you might sense it, right? You may hear it, you may just know it is a symbol, right? It just depends on your gift. That's how you're going to perceive it. For me, when I'm doing a light transmission or light language, it comes in through my channel and it looks like these golden symbols that come through my channel, and I can speak it out, which usually when I speak it is not words that your mind can understand. Only your heart can understand that, right? It sounds like a totally different language that is out of this world. Or sometimes it also sounds very tribal, like the ancient dialects, right? But the whole point of it is that what I love about working with light code surpasses, it basically just blows right past the mind that creates the blocks, the mental constructs that prevents us from receiving more from the divine. It just blows right, through it, crumbles it down, goes to the source and activates you. So it's such a quick way to activate someone without having them step in the way of receiving it. For example, let's say if I was doing, like an energy healing on someone, I place my hand on them, immediately their mind is like, what is going on? Am I supposed to feel something? Do I feel something? What is this? Well, I don't feel anything. That means it's not working, right? So your mind just like takes over, and that can block you from receiving the healing. With the light language, you just close your eyes and you listen. And if you're working with someone who's activating you through light codes or light language, first they're going to drop you into the heart, because that's the only way you can receive it. It's the only way you can understand it. You can hear my little one like running in here. Right?
Light codes, Mom, light codes.
He hears light codes and he starts running in. Hello, baby. Right. Light codes are actually symbols that come in through the divine. It's like hearts to hearts, you know, heart of the divine to the hearts of us, to activate our highest potential, whatever that is, you know, whatever that looks like, whatever that encompasses, that's between you and the divine, right? Light language is another form of the light codes being transcribed. So let's go back to the light codes. For example, there's codes of, let's see, empowerment. There's codes of, what was the one that was just coming through? It's like royalty codes, where you are activating your royal lineage, right? Or there's another good one that was coming through. Divine feminine empowerment codes. They're codes for our gifts, right? And they're encoded within our DNA. We have the physical DNA and spiritual DNA. I've talked about this in one of my podcasts. So if this like piques your interest, make sure you can go listen to that into more detail. Just find my, you know, my page. I have more information on there. So on our DNA, we have codes that represents who we are. Just like in our physical DNA, we have codes that transcribe to our eye color, hair color, skin color, all of that. Well, it's the same thing with our spiritual, you know, spiritual DNA strands. It has the codes of who we really are beyond our physical constructs. So the light codes come in and goes to these codes and awakens them, right? So if you're here to, let's say, liberate humanity from the mental construct, you have a code of liberation, right? So as you hear me speak, or if someone is transmitting the light codes to you in some way, shape, or form, right? That's going to get activated. What I love about light codes and light language is, as I am speaking it out, as I am transcribing it to you, I don't have any intentions as in like, okay, I'm doing this to activate you, you know, so that you can be the best person ever, or you can make a lot of money. Because the way it comes in as a package. It comes in as a package. So the package, what is within it, is exactly what you need. So there's no way I can limit that. By me trying to set an intention, I am limiting the potential of what can come through. So the moment that what word am I looking for? That language starts flowing through exactly what you need. I don't need to know that. Now, I might sense what is coming through, but it is not my power. It is not my, what word am I looking for? You don't get to decide what you receive. Let's put it that way. You are receiving what you need. I'm just a channel of that. Like even if, you know, like if I'm working with a client, they might have an intention, right? But I don't need an intention to, you know, to bring through what you need. I just need you to open your heart and then let what you need to come through. So it's such a powerful tool, modality that is coming online now more than ever to activate as many people as possible and raise the frequency, right? Which is so important, like raise the frequency of humanity and also the planet. It's a language of light. It is powerful, powerful. So yeah, it's quite excited to see more and more people wake up to that gift.
It really is. It really is. And you explain it so clearly too, the different parts. And I think that's so helpful to know, you know, that it's there, it's every individual's power, you know, that they come into to share. And you can speak it. I mean, you feel it coming through, but you also can speak. And other people, I feel like maybe dance it or paint it, right? I mean, it's just like, and it's a free flow.
Yep.
Like you said, you can't really, you know, put an intention on it because it's just coming out. It's just what's naturally there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Very cool.
It's like the only way for you to hinder it from flowing is by you stepping into your mind. It requires the channel and the receiver to be in your heart. If I am in my mind, it's not going to flow through. It doesn't matter how much I try to speak it, nothing is going to come out. The moment I drop into my heart, that channel opens wide and it just starts flowing. So it really, and this is kind of how you can tell who is operating from that heart space and who's operating from here, right? Whoever, especially the channel, it will be very fluid. It's almost like they open the faucet and the water is just coming through, right? Versus someone who's in their mind, it's like they're overthinking it. It's very choppy. They're trying to force it. You will feel it too. You will feel that, the flow is not right. This is not right for me, right? So it really required, when it comes to light codes, light language, it is this, it's like, I see this, the language of the divine. It is very high frequency and it requires you to match that frequency. And the way we can do that is by dropping into our heart space.
Yeah, 100%. Getting out of the head, coming from heart space. And that's exactly it. It just does flow. You know, it flows like a faucet. That's such a good analogy for it. I love that. I love water too. So, you know, I think water is can be so clearing, healing, conduit.
Yes.
Yeah, conduit.
Yes.
With, excuse me, with light codes and activating light codes, like say a client comes to you and you know, you're doing a light code activation on them personally, just as you explained. And I've heard a lot too, in various circles. I like to listen a lot to what other people are saying or doing, just so I could see what needs clarity, you know, just as a whole. That is it taking the place, or does it wipe out? And then maybe that's not the correct word, not wipe out. But I think when you're activating and able to shine your light, you still have your stuff that you're going to go through. You still have your work that you're going to do on yourself. Like let's say generational healing. You know, I think a lot of us are in that right now. You know, there's that stuff will still come up if it has not been dealt with, but having the light codes activated, you might have a little bit of ease maybe around it. How do you interpret all of that?
So the other thing as you were talking, the light language or light codes is the language of the fifth dimension and above. The prerequisite, like I can see us get to a time where we're all communicating through light language, because it is the language of the soul. Yeah, mind to, you know, like heart to heart, soul to soul communication. Yes. When I bring in a transmission to someone, what it does, so it all depends on what they're ready for. Now, if they're ready for, let's say, the generational pain to disappear, that's exactly what's going to happen, right? It can be like this if they want to. If they believe that they have to like take like a month to chew on it, that's exactly what's going to happen. But like you said, you get a lightness around it. You get clarity around it. I always tell my clients or ask them, what would you like to experience? You know, like what, if we're talking about generational stuff, why do you want to let that go? What is that? Like, so we can go more into detail. We first, you know, go more into the purpose of it. What is the clarity that you need there? Because with generational stuff, you know, like the first thing is awareness. Are you aware? Is this even yours or not? If it is not yours, then you don't have to do anything but to just say, I'm done. I refuse to continue this process through my lineage. It is done, right? Yeah. If it is yours, then you ask, where did this begin? What is it that do I need to learn from that in order to stop it once and for all? Because there's always that golden nuggets in the experiences that we need to receive before we can move forward. So if it is yours, you go to the root. Why did I experience this? Why is this in my lineage? What do I need to receive from this? Have I received it? You know, and how can I receive it? So it brings in that clarity, lightness, but in terms of the healing, the releasing, that's all on the person receiving and what they believe. If they believe that they still need to suffer first, that's going to happen. It might, because they've allowed themselves to receive the light language, it might not be as bad as it would without it, right? And perhaps through the light language, they'll receive the clarity to know that, oh, somehow I believe that I'm supposed to suffer through this, but no, I don't need to suffer anymore, right? You're bringing in, the way I explain this is that you are in a room and it's dark, right? And you bring in the light language, that is the light, and it illuminates the entire room. So all of a sudden you can see everything that is in the room. Some of the things that you've had in there that you totally forgot was even in there, right? So now you can look at this stuff and be like, oh, this picture, I don't even want it anymore. Goodbye. Why did I even have it here? Yeah. Or, oh, wow, that is old. I need to fix that, right? So all of a sudden you can see what you need to see in order to shift whatever it is that you need to shift to move forward. Yeah. So if you look at it that way, it makes the process much easier, right? Yeah.
It does. And it's so true. Like with the stories we tell ourselves, the story that maybe has gone on for generations,
Yes. Yes.
And then choosing. It's such a choice.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Such a choice. So I like that. Being in a room.
Yes.
That's really good.
Yeah, because you can't heal what you can't see. You can't release what you don't know you need to release, right?
You need to kind of pinpoint it.
Yes.
Yes.
Or just have the awareness, like, you know what? I'm tired of feeling this way, or I'm tired of attracting the same person over and over. I've noticed this pattern. You don't even have to go into details, like go into how it started, who started it, especially in this time that we're in. Just be aware of, oh, I guess this is the pattern I have. Do I still want to continue it or not? And if not, I'm ready to be done with it. What do I need to do? Oh, wait, I can call my higher self. I can call my divine team. Hey, divine team, by the way, I'm done. I'm done with this. I don't want to attract that same kind of pattern again. I'm ready. I'm ready to release it. It is done. It is done. It is it.
Yeah.
And that opens a whole new door for you to start experiencing new things that will truly support you. We make it complicated. Our minds step in and we make things so much complicated than it's supposed to be.
So true. So true. We come back to heart space, like you said, you're talking about, then we can come from that space that is clear and not, I think, uncomplicated, as long, I think it can be the most complicated, like we've made it complicated as a society. We guard, our heart space, with our posture even,
Yeah.
Yeah. And then as women too, having breasts, we guard on top of that, so then, how do we break that back open and go, hey, this is where it's all about. This is.
Yeah. And, since we're talking about heart space, like what is the heart space? What does it mean to drop into the heart space? Does it mean you have to do some complicated ritual and prayer and all of that? I mean, if you have the time to do it, great. But the whole concept, you have the heart, you have the physical heart that is connected to the spiritual heart. Now, when we do the rituals, when we do the meditation, because that allows us to connect to the spiritual aspect of our physical heart. And that allows the heart to awaken, right, in its fullness. Now you're combined in both the spiritual and the physical. But one thing that I also don't want people to do is demonize the mind. The mind is very powerful. It's a very powerful asset for us if we know its purpose, if we understand its purpose. In this society, it has been put on a pedestal and also separated from its counterpart, its beloved, which is the heart. And the way I see it, the way like the imagery is like, the mind is like fire and the water is what kind of contains it and helps it. Without the water, fire can go crazy and just, everywhere. There's nothing that will stop it, right? It goes crazy. And that's kind of like what the mind is doing in our society and also on an individual level, because it is not connected to its beloved. It's been separated from the heart. What the mind really wants is to be encased in the heart and follow the heart's decision. So the heart is actually the leader. The mind follows the heart. The heart tells the mind, hey, this is what we're doing. Are you on board? Yep, I'm on board. Let's do this, right? But it's the heart first and then the mind second. But we've switched that and made it the mind first, and then maybe we'll tune into the heart. That's not how it works, right? And so, yeah. So if you now that I've said it, hopefully that helps you understand that the mind is not a bad thing. It's just missing a huge aspect of it. It's out of balance, and it needs to be brought back in balance. It needs to be
100%.
brought back to the heart. Yeah,
100%. In fact, I mean, you're making me think of so many things too that I feel like keep coming up for me, and then keep coming up in society right now too. How do we can't figure this all out with our minds. We're going to have to come to heart, and how we, and that's going to lead, and not that we're going to, dismiss our mind. No, in fact, there's the hypothalamus in the brain connects the head and the heart. Yeah. And in Chinese medicine, it's called triple warmer.
Yep.
And I believe one of those points is like on the back of the shoulders, so kind of like, physically where it's posted. But yeah, like the connection or the balance of it, and getting back into balance is so, where we need to get back to, so we can, going back to our light language, our light gifts, to shine our gifts and not act like, oh no, we can't have those, we can't trust our gut, well, heck, we came with that too. So guess what? We need to follow that big time too.
There's a lot of work being done right now. And you can see this on the bigger level, on the bigger scales, what is currently crumbling, what no longer works. This is also happening within us too. All the things that blocks us from really stepping into our truth, into who we really are, and bringing in that truth that we are divine, that yes, I can be human and divine at the same time. There's no separation. Or the divine masculine and the divine feminine, we hold both of them within us. And we also need to bring the two in balance in our world. The masculine and the feminine need to come together in a beautiful dance again, come back into balance. There's no separation there. So there's a lot of things crumbling, a lot of false programs, a lot of false beliefs that have been, programmed within us. All of that is crumbling. And it is a scary place that we're in, because it's like, well, what does it mean if this is not the truth anymore? I've always known this to be the truth. So if it is not the truth, then what is the truth, right? It is such a right place to be in, because you can now discover your own truth, because there's not one truth, right? My truth is my truth. Your truth is your truth. So if you really look at it, we have many truths. And sometimes we'll meet others that share the same truth that we do. And it's woo, right? And we'll meet others that is like, their truth is not the same as ours. It doesn't mean that theirs is not a truth. It's for them. It's just not for us, right? So, but as you can see, like before we can get to that place where we honor each other in their own element without judging or trying to fit them in a box or fit everyone in it, like you have to be this way, you have to look this way, like it takes us to really crumble down the old tower, right? We need to destroy that old tower and then build a new foundation, and then build a new straighter tower that connects us straight to our core truth, our divinity, right? I don't know why the tower came in, but it was a perfect one to come in.
Well, I think we've been in a huge collective tower moment for, the good part of, a while, but really in our faces for the past almost 2 years now. Are we going on 2 years?
Yep.
Almost.
About,
yeah. So, it's crumbling. and these truths that were there that didn't serve, you know. And so now you get to go, well, hey, guess what? I am actually this, you know. And to see that, like you said, there's so many truths. And when you start to see that within yourself, I think it will be easier, you know, for people to really embrace somebody else's truth for them, you know. And it doesn't have to necessarily be about you, you know. So yeah,
Yeah,
it's a very, I think that tower is a good thing to come in.
the cool thing about the, you know, like, this is my truth, that is your truth. There's a sweet spot in that, right? In order for you to be able to accept someone's truth for what it is, without you taking it, oh no, feeling like you have to take it on, and you feeling like you have to make yours, you know, not true, or theirs not true, is to understand that all that truth, like when you tap into a true truth, it feels expansive. It doesn't feel restrictive. It will feel expansive. That expansive nature is divine quality. That means it's from source. It's your divinity shining through. That is the truth I'm talking about here. So as I speak my truth, you will begin to feel lighter. You will feel like you're flying with me. You will feel really good, blissful. You're like, oh, okay. Well, can you imagine, like, in that state of feeling, it would be so much easier to be like, oh, yeah, that is your truth. I got you, you know, like I don't have to take on your truth, but I feel it, and it's very expansive. It's embracing. It allows me to step in my truth and stand in my power, and it allows you to do the same thing, so we can coexist and do this dance of appreciating each other, right? So there's an expansive nature to it as we do this. And again, that's, you know, if you're lucky to experience that now, it is a huge gift, but that is the direction we're all going in. And more people will awaken to this, where we're able to accept each other in that expansive place rather than restrictive. Yeah.
Yes, expansive. I think that's a theme today, talking about expansion, right? I mean, I'm hearing it come out of your mouth a lot, you know, and I do it a lot too, you know, wider view. It's so, and your truth. I had somebody ask me, what is it when you get the full body tingles? When you hear something? And I said, it's the truth. It's your truth. You're feeling that truth deep inside, you know, and if you're feeling that with other people, I mean, it's just like, this is cool, right? I mean, you're raising that frequency, you know, because we raise it on our own. We get together and we raise it up. Oh my goodness. Right. We could just, we can do so much.
Absolutely.
Right. Do so much. So, you know, talking about your truth and being expansive and joining the male, female, and more balance, and doing that dance, and you know, different energies, kind of goes into talking about the matrix, because I really feel like and being a spiritual being and a human being, and we could be both, you know, there's no separation. And I think that, to me, was kind of really hitting on, you know, this idea of a matrix. And no, you can be in a groove on earth, you know, with your feet on the ground, you know, with your home and your family and all the things, and also be grooving with the higher realms, right? So is that what, I mean, that's what I was interpreting with that too. And I know that was one of our topics. But is that what you experience with a matrix that we hear about?
Tell me more about what you're referring to as the Matrix. Are you talking about the movie? Are you talking about?
Because it was so cool, right? It was so cool. No, you know, I feel like sometimes, you know, getting stuck in, what's the word? A rut that I think people can see as a matrix. But when I feel like there's a balance, there's also this balanced in a kind of a, not necessarily a matrix, but instead of seeing it as a matrix, seeing it as a balanced interaction, a harmonious interaction with all the parts that make up us as a collective. Does that make sense?
So what is coming through as I'm listening to you with the whole matrices, that there are many types of matrices, right? We know this, like it is a construct of what we believe. It's a construct of what we believe. Our beliefs create something, in the material realm, even energetically. And the image I'm getting is like we create this net of energy around us. That is what they're calling the matrix. So there are many types of matrices, right? The universal matrix is there, which is more expansive. We have our mind matrix that creates whatever it wants. So, the limitations, the fears, there are many types. So it's what you believe. Your belief creates that matrix. So when people are talking about the matrix, like hopefully they're being specific on, like what level, what is it? And what is it that they're trying to teach you about what matrix? Because it can be very confusing. It's like, which one do you think I should tune into? There's no which one to tune into. It's about you expressing what you believe. So what do you believe? What do you believe? If you believe in your divinity, that is the matrix of divinity that you're going to create. Yeah. And that matrix is going to look very different from the matrix of fear, which is very rigid. You can't really, it's like restrictive and rigid, versus the matrix of hope, the matrix of love, of faith, which is more like, again, I'm just seeing like this web of light. The matrix of love is going to be more permeable, more brighter, more breathable, right? It's not, it's expansive. Again, that word, right? It's expansive in nature. So it's about, what do you believe? And that belief should come from your core truth. And that core truth, going back to the balancing of spiritual and physical, right? It requires you to tune into what is higher than your physicality, which, your higher self, your divine self, or the source of all that is. And again, I point to above when I say source, but, source is also below, because we have the divine father and the divine mother.
Right.
So it's connecting to the source of all that is. That is where your truth is from. And that truth goes beyond what this is, what life experience you're having, right? Beyond that, there's a truth that is your truth. And that is what you need to tune into in order to pull through the right beliefs. So you're not just saying, oh, I believe in love. When I tune into your energy, you don't believe in love. You actually think that it's restrictive. You think it's, fear is bringing you anxiety, right? That's not your truth. You're saying it because everybody's saying it and you're following through with that. What is your truth? Be honest with yourself. Well, my truth right now is that love hurts. Great. How can we break through that? What is beyond that? Why does love hurt? Well, because I'm protecting my heart. I've been hurt so many times. Okay, what is beyond that? You just keep going. And if they allow themselves to keep going, they'll get to the core of that truth. And that core of the truth might be something like, I have always been a being of unconditional love. And that's all I ask for. That's all I want to experience. But, all these other stuff are there because I haven't experienced that yet. Oh. And so for someone like that, I would be like, well, tune into source, because that's where that unconditional love is. That love is between you and source. You're trying to find that in a human being who's here having their own experience. It's hard already. Right. Focus that on the true source, because that's where the unconditional love originates from, source above, source below. That is where you should place your solace. I am always unconditional love because I am always connected to all that is, to the I am that I am, to the unconditional love that is always existing. I am, that is my truth. I am love because I am part of that matrix. I am that, right? When you do that, when you connect to that truth, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if someone is showing you that love or not, because you are already filled up to the brim of that unconditional love. And when that happens, magic, miracles happen, because you draw in people who have that capability, who have the ability to also hold that much space for you. And then you begin to dance, right? But it begins with us. It truly begins with us. And part of the human experience is we learn, we go outside of ourselves to find something. And then we're like, wait, why am I out there? I should come here. It's because I want it. Where can I find it? I can find it right here. I need to love myself more. I need to trust myself more, right? I need to support myself more. I need to see myself. I need to hear myself. Until I do that, I cannot expect anyone else to do that for me, because that won't happen. If I'm not listening to myself, doesn't matter how much I scream, no one else is going to hear me. Or, it's like that instance where you're like, I just feel like nobody listens to me. Well, do you listen to yourself? Do you hear the sound of your heart? Do you hear the language of your heart, your soul? Are you connecting to your higher self? Do you know your voice? Right? It starts there. And then once you're good there, then you might be whispering and someone's like, oh, I got you. Or you might be just sitting there quietly and your energy is already like on point that people get you without you even opening your mouth, right? But it begins right here. It starts here. Like we've reached a time where we need to begin to discover our own mystery, the mystery of who we really are.
Oh, I like that. The mystery of who, and always peeling back those layers.
Yes.
Because it's, you kind of go through a certain experience and you come to some, I think you called it maybe a golden nugget, enlightenment of something. And then you might go through a different experience and it's just going to be a little different, right? So then you peel back another layer to see it a little differently, or take that golden nugget that you already have and apply it over here. Yeah. So,
and I want to challenge everyone who's listening to this. What if there's no layer to peel? I want you to just like chew on this. What if there's no layer to peel? And I'm saying this because in the third dimension, which was, if we're looking at dates, this would be like 2019 and beyond. We were in the 3D, right? Now we're like 4D, 5D. Like a lot of people are in 5D, which is pulling more people into the higher consciousness. But in the 3D, we had to learn, like the karmic way. It was hard work. Let's just put it that way. You had to like understand and like peel it and understand why it was there and go deeper and remove the roots. Like that was what we were supposed to learn there. In 5D, the fifth dimensional consciousness, vibration, existence, it's like, okay, this is no longer working. Do I want to continue working with this? Yes, no, move forward, right? So we have the ability to move through challenges more quickly and effectively than grabbing onto and having to like dive in deep and like take years to break through. Like we have the ability to move through something now within a day, something that would have taken us years to move through. Yeah.
It's crazy. I think one of your podcast episodes that wasn't that long ago, it's like truth emergency or something. Like it was like, okay, like let's do this. We don't have years to, and why do we? Why do we think we need to, spend all this time agonizing, right? So I like that a lot. Boy, we're lucky to have them to assist with all this new consciousness that a lot of people are getting used to, right? Coming in, I keep getting they're not gonna be socialized and forget, like maybe somebody from my generation, your generation, or an older generation, really forgotten and had to relearn. Those.
So you were asking about how the new children coming in are actually helping raise the frequency of the planet. Absolutely.
Totally.
Absolutely. I mean, I feel like on a bigger level, on the conscious level, we knew that this was about to happen because the women who were about to birth these amazing high frequency children, right? Who remember, they're not like us that we forgot everything when we entered here. Like they remember, right? They remember everything, and they come in to really anchor more of that light into humanity. So we were being prepped to bring in these consciousness. Like they challenged us to be more, to step more into our light, in order to be able to hold that high frequency. I remember it was like during my pregnancy with him, a lot of this topic was kind of coming around the same year where, women, who would have like really bad, what was it called? Like morning sickness that never ended, usually it's supposed to end in the first trimester, that never ends. That's usually there's a mismatch in frequency. Your baby's frequency is way higher than yours. And that's why you get the morning sickness. And the moment you allow your frequency to raise up and sink in with your babies, well, then there's no need for you to experience the morning sickness. It's so fascinating, right?
Wow. Yeah.
It's really, and then after that, you get other symptoms. Like if you're really in tune with the high frequency consciousness in your stomach that is growing, like they guide you. They will tell you exactly what they want. They, like he came in, like we did like past life stuff while he was still in my womb. Like a past life aspect of him came in. And for the longest time, like I have a lot of tools that, my home is secured. Let's just put it that way. It's very secure. So for the longest time, like I kept seeing this image of a man, in the bedroom. And I was like, oh, heck no, get out. I did everything. I called in the angels, and then it was just constantly there. So I was talking to a friend of mine and she's like, did it ever occur to you that it might be your son's, like an aspect of your son? And that it just like a light bulb. And so the next time I saw it, I was like, come forward. I want to see you. And lo and behold, it was him. He was much older, and I was like, what is it that you need? And he took me on this journey, like to a past life. Like, I'm going to come back to this. The reason why he did that, it's like, it was like clearing the slate so that he didn't bring in all that karma. And a lot of these, this rainbow children or crystalline children, they're coming in with with a clean slate.
Yeah.
And so that was really cool to like walk me through that so I can understand, that he's coming in very clear because his mission is very clear. He doesn't need other stuff to hold him back, and it also taught me about how easy it can be for me to also do the same thing. So I have a clearer channel here on my mission. But it was just, these are the kids that we're working with. And as they grow, in hopes, we hope that, the parents will also grow with them and be able to just nourish their gifts and just, witness them, like be willing to listen to them and allow them to teach you instead of you trying to teach them your lineage and your ways, right? We're switching things here. Like we're used to, like my parents taught me a certain way, their parents taught them, like we've had that going on. But with them, it's like, wait, they're coming in, it's like, no, I don't need your stuff. But if you're willing, I would love to teach you something else. So it's like, we need to make that space. Like, I'm so excited every day. I'm like, what is it that you need to teach me today? And I'm so excited for him to start talking because I know there's going to be so much stories,
Oh my goodness.
Yes. So I'm like, yes, I'm ready to learn, like, teach me. And well, how can I nourish you? How can I support you? Like, that is my number one goal. How can I support you in your expression? How can I support you in your growth, in your mission? Because that's the best I can do. It's not about me teaching you my ways. It's not about me telling you all the bad things in the world. You already knew that before you came down here,
Right.
Yeah, so we're shifting things, and they're really helping us to shift our mind, to reconnect our hearts, to come back to the truth, to help us be in the expansive place if we choose to accept it. Yeah.
Definitely, definitely. And that goes along with too how we're learning how to speak differently, and listen. You're listening to your child, and how he's going to express himself. And then it's going to be different than, like you said, the stories then you guys are going to share as
Yes.
mom and son,
Yeah.
then as family unit. I mean, wow, it's exciting, and I feel like it kind of started even before somebody, a child like your son's age, like even the, teens, it started that are
Oh,
teens.
yes. Yeah.
And yeah, but it's just like you said, they're leaving behind the karma. They're not coming in with it. Like, how can I just come in with this? All right, let's do this.
Speaking of light language, kind of like doing a full circle. When you listen to toddlers or infants start to talk, I've noticed, like if you're familiar with light language, listen to them. It sounds exactly like light language. And if you speak it to them, like watch them, they are like fully into it. It draws them right in. They start smiling, they start talking back to. Like like it reminded me of like, this is how we came in originally. We came in that purity. We came in knowing our soul language. And, our parents didn't know that we were speaking our soul language, that it was called light language, that it was very potent and healing and activating. They just called it babble. Right. But now it's like, oh my gosh, my child is speaking light language. Oh my gosh, my child is not the only one who speaks language. Like we all did, and we forgot.
We did. We really did.
It's incredible.
It's really, it's like we're in this constant state right now of, being like, Samhain, Halloween time where the veils are thin and we're seeing clearly. It's like constantly, look there, look over here. And that veil is just, oh, I'm seeing so much clearer. Yes. And it's like, it's like constant no duh moments. Like, like you just are like, of course. Because it's getting back to that heart space. And it's like when you can't, when everything seems confusing in in the world, and we can't pinpoint stuff, you come back to heart space, you come back to gratitude for what you do have, and things start to have an ease, and they start to make a little more sense.
Yeah.
So true. So true. How cool though to speak the light language with your little one.
Oh, absolutely. It is quite an experience. It definitely is. Even up till now, I still speak it to him. And the way they receive it is just it's so beautiful. Like it's automatic. They go into that receptive mode and they look at you, and they just receive what you're speaking, and you can feel it. You can feel that they're receiving it. Yeah.
Oh, that's so beautiful. I mean, so beautiful. Is he starting to tune in here? Is he gonna?
Apparently, oh my gosh. See, you guys get to experience him. He decided to come sit right next to me and start talking. Yeah.
I love it. And hey, we both said we just wanted it to flow, and we'll let it flow as it will. So I think this is perfect. I love it. Oh, and I'll hit on one other thing that I really kind of tuned into listening to your last, I think it was your last podcast about, do you want to stay comfortable? Who are you in this new energy, in this new frequency? Do you just want to stay like almost comfortable, complacent? I think it was not just, comfortable and cozy, but complacent, or are you willing to, step through that door? It's not babble, it's light language, etc. And I thought that was another thing that's really going to come back around a lot, because again, there's so many new experiences right now that are going on that you're going to go, all right, I'm walking. That was really important to bring up, all the changes that are happening amongst.
I mean, it comes down, we all have a choice. Even when it comes to us working with our angels and archangels, it's still a choice, because even they cannot override our free will. Like, we have to call them in order for them to step in. And they're right here. They're always
100%.
right here. But until you choose to call them in, they're not gonna override your free will. They respect us that much, right? So it's the same thing in life, in all of our experiences. We have a choice. We have a choice. We can choose anything. And also at any given moment, we can change our minds. So if you chose a life that is like, painful, you're surrounded by people you don't even like, you can choose to experience something else. But again, you have to choose that.
Yes.
Right. Like, you can choose to be open to see what else is possible, what else is there, apart from, the physical stuff that you experience. And you have to choose to open your mind to experience that. Right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Right. Totally. Most definitely. I love seeing his little hand come up on your chest. His little hand.
Is that a lot? He's like, sometimes he's like reaching out there. I'm like, oh my God, what are you doing? He's like trying to touch my eye while I'm in an interview.
What are you doing, Xavier?
Exactly.
Oh, love that. So before we end, I feel like we could talk for a really long time about all of this. And I'd love to hear more about your newest project, Miraculous, and what's that all about?
Yeah, so Miraculous is my multi-author book that is going to be coming out in October. I'm getting in the fall. And the whole concept of this is bringing people together in one book and publishing their stories, publishing their messages, their medicine. And, especially Miraculous, the purpose of Miraculous is to activate and instill hope in all the readers. So the stories, as you read them, will help you. You will see yourself in the stories. You will also see that you're not stuck, that there's so much more, the possibilities are endless. And part of this book, the energy of this book is very activated. So by just purchasing the book itself, you are activating the energy of hope within you, which humanity needs a lot right now.
Yes.
And so I'm very excited for this project. I mean, currently the contributors in their stories are out of this, and they're just mind blowing. I'm so excited to get it out in the world. And so, yeah, it's an avenue for those who have inspiring stories, inspiring experiences that they know can help someone else, stand on your feet, someone else be inspired to go on their own journey, be inspired to step into who they really are, to show up fully. It invites them to come in and share their story in a community that's very supportive, celebrative, activating. So you're not doing this by yourself. Sharing your story and getting published is scary. A lot of people don't notice that, right? Choosing to sit down to share an aspect of yourself that perhaps maybe you don't even talk about it that often. This is something that is very dear to you, and you're choosing to share it with humanity, with thousands of people who will be buying this book or be introduced to this book who don't even know you. It's a very vulnerable place. And so that's what I love about the collaborative aspect of multi-author books, because it's bringing people together, like-minded people together, so that they can walk through these journeys of activating their voice, sharing their stories, and also becoming a best-selling author together, right? Mm-hmm. So I'm really excited about that. Yeah, so if you have a story like that and you want to be, a published author, if you want to add that to, your business or your name, because we know how expansive that title is, it really takes you to a different level. First, it lets people know that you are serious about your mission, that you are willing to share who you are, your life, your story, to help humanity grow, expand, raises frequency. People take you seriously when they see that, right? And the second part is that it helps you start to, it's like your soulmate clients begin to get pulled to you because now they've read your story and they're like, oh yeah, there she is, or there he is, right? So they can find you easily. You're putting that beacon out there so that they can come find you easy. So a lot of people who go through this project, like, it changes their business. They go from people not knowing who they are to all of a sudden, like, they're everywhere. Summits, podcasts, being a speaker on stage, it really opens you up. The experience is very expansive in nature, right? And the last part is that you get to be in a community of like-minded people. So you get that networking, you're not just in any group that you're, like, I have no idea who this is, like I'm friending this person because their picture looks good. You know these people because you've read their story, like we meet on a weekly basis where we get to share what is coming up, the fears that are coming up. We do clearance, we do activations. Sometimes it's just holding space for someone to share their truth, right? So there's a lot of bonding that happens and through this process. And so they get to know each other and they become really good friends afterwards, like supportive team right there. So we're changing the paradigm of, what publishing used to be. And we're bringing humanity into publishing. We're bringing authenticity, connection into publishing again. And, true stories out to humanity so that they can read about, what other humans are experiencing in this world. And it will just console them. Like, I'm not alone. Oh, wait, I'm not the only one who's going through this. I'm not the only one who's awakening. I'm not the only one who can speak light language. I'm not the only, like, whatever that is, you're not alone. Like, it's so big. It's so big. It's something so cherished, so I'm really excited about this.
I mean, you're selling me, and I know I've already talked to you about it a little bit. Yes, yes please. No, it's and doing a podcast and talking about my personal experiences too. You really are putting yourself out there, but you really, having somebody else go, oh, she gets it, or he gets it. I'm not alone, and it's so important to have that. And then as authors, to have that sense of community. Yes. You're right, because it can be such a solo thing, especially when you're doing a lot of this inner work, and how important it is. And whether it's coming naturally, you sit down and have that space at your altar or other space in your home, or wherever, just to have that community to share those experiences that, like you said, you're not maybe talking about so much, and that it could all, I love that you said cherish, that it could all be cherished. And then that humanity. Yes. Yes, it's so important. Such amazing work. Such amazing work you're doing, Abigail.
I love it. I love it.
Yeah, it's so needed. I am going to connect all of Abigail's information in the show links. So whether you're somebody who wants to be a published author, or maybe you would like to experience one of her activations personally, we'll link all those in the show notes. Abigail, is there anything else you'd like to add before we close out today?
There's so much more than what you're experiencing currently. And whatever it is that you're going through, regardless of how hard it is, there's always a way through, and you will make it through. You're experiencing it because you are stronger than it, and you need to remember your strength. You need to remember that you have all the tools, all the answers that you need available for you in order for you to move through it as easily as you want it to be. You're not alone on this journey. You will never be alone. Again, it is a choice. If you want to open up to all the support that you came into this world with, or if you want to continue to close your eyes to that support, it is your choice. But it is my hope that, especially if you're listening to this, that you are ready to open yourself up to receive all the support that is available to you, and to also see how life how life can celebrate you, how life can support you, how life can be better, more joyful, filled with love, more supportive, more thriving, right? More rich, whatever it is that you desire. You can create that. You are the creator or creatrix, and you get to choose that. Remember that.
Yes. Such good words to close by. I feel like we all got a session with you with this interview too.
It never
The feeling
fails.
comes through so much, Abigail.
Thank you.
It was truly a pleasure sitting across from you. Thank you
Thank you
so
for
much,
having me, Carrie.
Abigail Mensah Bonsu, and we'll have all the connections for her down below.
Thank you, everyone.
Okay, did you just feel like you had a session with Abigail already? I know I sure did. Just being on the receiving end and having that chat with her. What a powerhouse. I hope you enjoyed this episode and learning more about Abigail Mensah Bonsu. She is quite the accomplished spiritual guide and mentor. And if you would like to work with Abigail, you can reach her at moongoddessacademy.com. She has her own podcast called Sovereign Divinity. It is on Spotify and iTunes. And her new book is coming out soon. It's Miraculous, and it's a collection of stories from 10 different visionary leaders. I can't wait to get my hands on this. I bet it's just going to be a fantastic and inspiring read on our soul's journey. I did link all of the ways you could get a hold of Abigail in the show notes, so that's just below wherever you're listening. You can go ahead and check that out. Thank you so much for tuning in, and I look forward to bringing you another guest episode next Tuesday on schedule. And I have a training coming up myself on 1028. It's called it's by the Infinite Academy, and it's a training on Discarnate Souls, Miasms, and Stalking Entities. And you could sign up for that at ancientbodyworks.co. It is a training. There will be guided meditation and DNA activations within that, but it is a training. So I will go through step by step on ways to find out who's attached, where they're attached, how they attached. We're going to ask all the questions, and I'll guide you through how to go through that. And if you'd like to get a hold of me, you can get a hold of me at ancientbodyworks.co. If you'd like a private session with me, I'd love to have you on my Facebook group, The Infinite Dance. We talk all things, the episodes and what's going on, and just general things that are going on our journeys. So keep continuing to peel back the layers and continue to ask yourselves and each other, may I have this dance?